Just take a nice big deep breath in, and then allow your breath to fall into whatever pattern it wants to. And just notice, feel your breath. And you bring your awareness to your breath and notice how it connects to your heart and how your heart feels different or the same as you bring some attention to it. And feel the earth beneath you. Feel where you're connected and your feet. Feel where you're the lowest point of connection into your seat and your legs, your back. Feel the energy of the earth moving her way up into you, your body. And how that connects with your breath. Bring your awareness to your eyes and notice how your eyeballs feel beneath your eyelids. Notice if you see anything behind your eyelids. Just notice. And bring your awareness to your ears. And notice how they feel. Notice as you get quieter what sounds make their way to your ears. And then bring your awareness to your skin. Notice how it feels on your face. Maybe you want to soothe out any worry lines that are on your forehead. Just notice how your skin feels. Is it cold or warm? Is it soft? Hard? Is it dry or moist? Just notice it without judgment. Just allow it to be. In a world where we're all so busy, it's just so valuable to take a couple of minutes just to be. Taking time to really connect into this moment. Feeling the energy from the earth beneath you. Noticing how it moves through your body. Noticing if any parts of your body are calling out for additional attention. And let's just give a little bit of love and appreciation to our incredible bodies that work without any conscious effort from us. And even the parts of our body that are demonstrating pain, acknowledge that part as well. That part is a little or a louder voice asking you to take notice. Just thank that part for being there too. As you're all sitting in this nice, quiet, calm space, I'll explain to you what we're going to be talking about today, which is around beliefs and what we believe. And beliefs are such an interesting phenomenon, really, because they affect our actual reality. What we believe at a core level is so integral to actually what we experience in life, right here, right now. So I invite you, before you open your eyes, just to put your hands on your heart and connect in to your core beliefs. And maybe by the end of this session, you'll know what your beliefs are on a deeper level, how they are created and how they are manifested in our world, and how we can affect them with our conscious mind. My intention for today's session is that everyone will leave feeling a little bit calmer, a little bit more hopeful, and a little bit more empowered about how you can affect your current reality. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath and notice if it's changed at all or not. I invite you to bring your awareness to your fingertips and toes. Maybe give them a little wiggle as we come back into our bodies. And then give your arms or your hands and your feet a little wiggle. And your wrists and your ankles, your arms and your legs. And maybe a little stretch up. Little hug to ourselves. And come back into the room. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful souls for joining me. So every time I run these sessions, they're a little bit different. I'm still sort of finding the vibe for it. So I'm going to be introducing or discussing what I've learned about beliefs over the last few years. And if anybody would like to contribute at all, if you can put your hand up using the reaction key so I can see you, then I'll invite you to come on camera. Or if you want to use the chat function, do that as well. And in the meantime, I'll just start talking about what I believe beliefs are and how they form our reality. They are, who else has come in? Oh, Jamie's just come in. Beliefs are the foundation of us, and they are created. Do we create our own beliefs? No, I don't believe we do. I don't believe we do. They are created for us as we come into the world. So when we're born, we're probably not quite a blank slate, because we come from parents and they've had their own set of beliefs that are almost passed down to us in their DNA. You can recognize behavior traits from your parents. You say similar things, you do similar things, you believe similar things, because they were brought up in a world where they believed. And beliefs come from society mainly. They're shared down. They're almost forced down from religious entities, our education, our political system, our society, about what is true in the world. What is really true in the world, though? What is really true? Nobody really knows, because everybody's belief is different. And what we believe on from the core really works as our programming for what is our reality. So I am talking, or I've been talking a lot about the belief to heal. So since I've been consciously on this healing journey, so this is when my beliefs shifted. So up until 7-8 years ago, I was under the belief that I had an incurable disease with multiple sclerosis. I was also under the belief that it was probably going to get worse, and also there was nothing that I could do about it. So why did I believe those three things? Because when I got my diagnosis from a very experienced and well-trained neurologist, that's what she told me. And that's what the medical profession totally believe. That's what they're trained. That's what they've learned about. And up until about 7 years ago, I accepted and believed that actually that neurologist who'd met me a couple of times knew more about me and my body than what I did. And I just took it as gospel that that is true. And it was about 7 years ago that I started my own research, when the medication that they were giving me didn't seem to be doing the job that I was hoping that it was going to do, even though they told me it was not going to heal you. This isn't going to be a cure. This medication that you get will just hopefully stop you getting worse in quite the same speed as you would have done without it. So that in itself is a belief. So I took the medication believing that actually it wasn't going to cure me. It was only going to hold off progression potentially. And when you think about the placebo effect and how powerful the placebo effect is, which is all about beliefs. So if you would give, maybe if that doctor had said, hey, you've got this thing, but we have got a cure. It's this little blue pill. You just need to take that blue pill every day and the MS will just disappear. And if she believed that to her core and passed on that belief to me, and I believed it to my core, chances are I'd still be taking that blue pill today and there wouldn't be a problem. But we are entrenched in a world of things have to be evidenced before they can be proved as true. And we know that from the medical profession. It doesn't matter the fact that people have had spontaneous healings. Nobody in the medical profession takes much notice of that. They just put it down. So the placebo is an annoying little thing, but the placebo is an incredible big thing that we can use to our advantage. So I've been listening to a lot more recently of Joe Dispenza. And if you've come across his work before, then one of the books that he's written is called You Are the Placebo, because recognizing that mind-body connection, that if we believe something, then our body and our ego and all the other parts of us go full into making it happen. So our beliefs become our subconscious programming. If we believe we've got an incurable disease, then that is almost set as a program deep, I want to say deep down somewhere. And it doesn't matter how much the conscious mind is saying, yes, but you can heal. Deep down, it's saying, yeah, but you can't. So you've almost got this, you're at loggerheads with each other. you've got part of you that's saying, I can heal, and part of you that's saying, no, you can't. And we're just gonna be a battering ram. And even though I've been learning about this and working with many people and taking other people through the process of changing your beliefs, my core beliefs still, unfortunately, are, yeah, I've got an incurable disease, and it's not going to get any better, not for me anyway. And saying that out loud sounds a bit rubbish, but also quite honest. So I don't know if you've seen my social media recently, but I've had this crazy, even the fact that I'm calling it crazy says that I'm at loggerhead with my beliefs. So I am on a healing journey. I want to be 100% healed from multiple sclerosis, and I want to take part in a full able-bodied open water triathlon. So that is my future self. She is there running in that marathon, and I've shared somewhere on social media my AI version of me, who's looking pretty hot, I might like to add, with her super abs, and she's got super muscles, and she's made her way through that finishing line, and she has done it. And I've recognized that with all the work that I've been doing, there's still a fundamental part of me that's not believing it's true. How committed am I to making it happen? How committed am I to working on my beliefs so much that actually it is my truth? And how am I going to know that my beliefs are in line when I'm healed, when it gets to that level? I think it's as simple as that. It's like, we've watched, or you might have watched, the Matrix, when he goes out of the belief system of being in the Matrix, and he can jump crazy things and do things that seem like impossible. And that's what I feel like I'm doing now. I feel like I'm doing something that still feels impossible, if I'm honest. And over the last week, I've got a bit braver about sharing about it. And I've created the vision of my future self, albeit in AI form. And I am moving towards that version of myself using the work of Joe Dispenza. I mean, I don't know if you know his story, but he actually had an accident in a triathlon. He was knocked off his bike and broke his back in some like 7 places, was told that he would never be able to walk again. And the only way that they could possibly fix him at all was to put a metal rod down his spine. And he was, no, I don't think that's going to happen. He had already been on, he was already a chiropractor. He was already doing lots of work with the mind-body connection. And I'm still learning more about his journey. But from the baseline is that he, in 14 weeks of meditating, of getting himself in that future place, because what happens, according to Joe Dispenza, is that if you can imagine yourself doing something, it's as powerful as if you are doing it yourself. And your brain wires up into a way that actually this is my reality, because our brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So if we can spend more time in our future place, where I'm running the marathon or triathlon, I'm not, marathon's a step too far even for me, but yeah, I'm running the triathlon, I'm getting trained up for it. I can feel myself running, feel the winds in through my hair, in my skin. I can feel my heart beating, getting exhausted, getting through the pain barrier of actually, yeah, you can do this, you can do this. And if you can have a strong intention with a strong emotion, and I've been through that finishing line a couple of times now, not as many as I could do. So this is my challenge to myself, that actually, can I spend more time in my future self rather than my current self. But then I have the other challenge of, but being in the now is where the magic happens. So we don't want to spend too much time in the future, but how can I be, yeah, I don't know. Has anyone got any answers to that quandary? Margaret, I can see you.
What leapt straight into my mind was Carl Jung spoke about the both and of life.
Lovely.
Is that it, and it's beautifully illustrated in the yin yang sign, is that nothing is ever completely black. There's always at least that one spot, and vice versa. And by acknowledging, we can be both imagining the future, but present in the now.
Yes, thank you. And I think that is the challenge more than anything else, because what I have been doing the last week as well, I think since I've been talking about the triathlon and talking about healing, I've upped what I'm doing in the morning, just my little exercise. It's nothing major. I'm not out running anything at the moment, but I'm moving my body. I'm making my body, move all that it can. And I've also been taking some time to actually hear other people's stories of how they've healed, because then it becomes more possible. It turns from something to that's absolutely impossible, and we're changing the paradigm or moving towards a community of people that believe that it's possible, rather than sitting in the place where it's not possible. And that is, and that's what I've been doing really over the last 7 years. When I first talked to, I must have, I don't know, you're probably about the 20th person now I've spoke about this idea, and bar a couple which just give me a little things to just think about a little bit more. This is fantastic. This is great. You can do this. And can I do this? Well, that's my belief. Can I or can't I? So I want to work that belief from, and it's moving up the scale. It was, I think from 7 years ago, it moved up the scale. I moved from actually realizing that there were people out there that defied what the doctors had said, certainly with regarding to multiple sclerosis, but also with a lot of other conditions as well, that actually these incurable conditions are, we don't need to use the word cure, but we can live symptom free either with them or just as something that's happened in them. But there's so many things that you sort of have to consider. And I think when we're in the world that we're living in, with so much entrenched beliefs, that it feels, even now to the community of people, that a lot of that I'm talking about that are in this self-healing idea, it still feels like I'm talking way out there, and who am I to say it? So it's recognizing, I think, when how do we change our beliefs? Or we can only change them when we know that they're there. And I think when our beliefs are so rooted to the core of us, we don't even notice that it's a thing until we start becoming more self-aware. And I've talked about this on previous sessions. How do you become more self-aware? You just have to start listening to what you are saying, what you are thinking. And you can hear it. This is why it's helpful working with a coach as well, because quite often when you put out a goal like I've just have, and then you get this whole barrage of, whoa, why is that not possible? They're the things that you need to listen out for. Write them down, actually notice them as a thing, right? If this is something that I'm thinking, then it's something somewhere I'm believing. So therefore, how can I change that? What would move me up the scale of belief without it being, yes, I'm healed? You can't jump from it's been totally impossible to it's totally possible. It's, well, I don't know, maybe that's just a belief. You probably can if you experience something or if you see something. And it's then looking out for things that remind you that it's possible. It's that confirmation bias. So if you believe that something is possible, you're going to see more and more evidence, or hear more and more evidence that it's possible. But if you start looking out for, actually, I want to prove that that isn't possible, or I want to prove that is possible, then start looking. And that's what I did 7 years ago. I just put other things in Google rather than, what is the prognosis from multiple sclerosis? What's the worst thing that can happen to multiple sclerosis? To actually, who has healed from multiple sclerosis? Who has overcome multiple sclerosis? What have they done? And lo and behold, Google doesn't judge. It just gives you what you ask for. So it's the quality of the questions that you're asking can then form your beliefs, and you can change, because we're human beings and we've got a conscious mind, and we can change our point of view. We can change our perspective. So now I do believe that I can heal. I've still got some underlying low ones that are like needing ironing out somewhere. But I do know that it's possible, because I've spoken to probably hundreds of people actually that it has been possible for. I do know that actually I do know there's not one size fits all. I do know that it's part of our journey, and that's what I believe. I think the spiritual development that I've created on this, or I've developed on this journey, has enabled me to experience the challenges with MS with a little bit more lightheartedness and a little bit more love and compassion. And somebody suggested to me today that actually he's a very I trust his spiritual guidance, and he actually suggested that this idea of running a triathlon was maybe a little bit based on fear, and all a little bit about, yes, let's do this, come on, we can do this, and rather than a place of love. So that is another challenge. So we've got the challenge of imagining the future self of being here in the present, and also loving myself through it, bringing love into everything. And something else that came through for me not so long ago was that actually pleasure is the portal to healing. And how much time do we make for pleasure? And first thing that came into my head was sort of sex and orgasms. And if I'm honest with you, at the moment, I'm not leaving very much time for that. But that isn't necessarily the portal. It's finding pleasure in everything that we do. And in order to do that, we have to be more mindful, just to notice actually right now, I can see what's going on. I can feel the energy in my fingers. I can check out my nice new little microphone thing that keeps changing color, and decide to enjoy what I am doing right now. Yeah, all a challenge at the same time as navigating life and doing all the things that we need to do in order to be a human being in this wonderful world of ours. So, what is the conclusion for this? I wonder. I don't know if anybody's got any thoughts or anything that's come up for them regarding their own beliefs, and what do we need to believe in order to fully enjoy life right now. And I suppose another question, which is just formulating, it's just coming up, is I don't know, this sounds a bit of a crazy one, which is counteracting everything. Do I need to be fully healed to fully enjoy life? And maybe not. And then, so my spiritual mentor said to me earlier that actually expect the unexpected. So it's all right to have goals and have dreams that we're working towards, but actually, what happens if it doesn't pan out like that? What happens if it's something, my healing takes a very different route that I hadn't even considered? Because healing isn't a linear thing. It's not like we just get better and better at whatever symptom is currently showing itself. This is about going deeper and discovering maybe things that have deep wounds that need to be brought to the surface and just allowed to heal on their own. It's a bit like taking the plaster off or taking the bandage off. At some point, you have an actual wound in your skin. If it's really deep, then it takes a long while to heal. And if you've got something like a splinter in it, the splinter will stop it from healing. You've got that something inside which then causes an infection, which then goes a bit deeper. And sometimes in order to dig a deep splinter out can be really painful. But then does it have to be? Because also sometimes with splinters, if you just allow the body to do what it does, it'll dissolve it on its own accord, and you don't need to go digging out. I don't know, there's lots of thoughts have come up there with regarding to wounds and healing and beliefs around that. And what if all of our challenges with regarding to health and regarding to body is just our journey of getting reconnected to our body and what that means, and connected to our souls as well, and our spirit, and being more in the moment, doing less, relaxing, chilling, and feeling pleasure in the moment, whatever that. And just by breathing, if you invite you to just breathe again, when we bring a bit of consciousness to something that we do on the unconscious every day, that actually something as simple yet as healing as breathing is a real beautiful thing. So yeah, so thank you for listening to my ramblings for the last for the last little while. And if you hadn't heard what I am doing with regarding to my healing journey, and my big, hairy, audacious goal of taking part in a triathlon within a year, I'll be sharing on social media anyway, but I've opened a Patreon account. So if anybody would like to support me on my journey and hear more about what I'm doing, so what I'm planning to do in there, Patreon is a platform not dissimilar to Facebook and YouTube, but it's a paid for thing. So if you want to become part of my inner circle, if you like, of actually seeing what I'm doing on a more consistent basis, I will be sharing, I don't know how often. I've done a load of videos already, so if I can get into a nice little theme of it, it will be short and often, just for $5 a month, which is about £4 something, which is, no, is it? I think it's just under £4 or about £4. So for the price of a coffee a month, would you like to come and support me on my healing journey and learn from me as I go along? And I've asked Shigo if she could maybe put the link into the chat. I'll be putting it on social media as well. So this is going to be my latest venture, I suppose, of sharing what I'm doing. I've definitely, there's some part of me that just is called to share what I'm doing. I love talking on camera. And I find when I talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, I think that's a key piece as well. Then I believe myself more. I believe it's true. And sometimes it can be very easy to get stuck into a place where your body's not where you want it to be, your situation's not where you want it to be. It can be very scary, and it can be very belief destroying. So this is about creating beliefs and enhancing them and becoming them, I guess, becoming your beliefs to create the reality that you actually want. And you hear about people that are sort of so enlightened that they don't get ill. There's something that I need to connect with, and that is my journey, and I'm going to be sharing it. I'll be sharing the highs and lows, the ups and downs. Some of the I do some quite, yeah, I call them crazy, because the younger version of me would have thought I was absolutely nuts, and some of the things that I eat and some of the things that I try out, and the amazing amount of money that I've spent on various different things to try and support me on this healing journey. When everybody tells me, and I know myself, that actually the answers are within, but we still look outside for answers, because again, that's what we're conditioned to do. You know, at no point when you were a little person, when you fell over and hurt your knee, probably did your, unless you were born into an enlightened family, did your mum or dad say to you, oh, just sit with it, what's your body trying to tell you? It's okay, your body can heal. We maybe race to the doctors and, yeah, soothe the crying instead of allowing the tears to flow, and just allow your body to do what it's meant to do. So we are born into this world. We're meant to be born into this world. This is all meant to be happening at this point in time. And let's go on this journey and embrace it, enjoy it, love it, and notice what beliefs are coming up for you. So if you've got a dream that you feels out there, that feels crazy, that feels audacious and big and unrealistic, but some part of you wants it, and when you tap in, you can get emotional about it, then write it down, and then write down all the stuff that comes up that says why you can't do it. They're your beliefs that we need to start working on. And yeah, it's my experience. I don't want to say it's not an easy task, because if you believe it's going to be easy, it will be easy. So actually, let's just assume that while every challenge is worth having, every challenge takes you somewhere else. And I follow a guy called Peter Sage. I don't know if you've ever come across him, but he's a very successful entrepreneur. He's also very spiritually minded. And he talks about, it's not necessarily about the goal, it's about who you become in getting to that goal. And that's the journey that I'll be sharing. I don't know who I'm going to become. I don't know whether it'll work out the way I would like it to work out, but I'm going to share it anyway. That is my promise. So thank you very much. Sort of brings us to the end. Does anybody, tell me just in either unmute yourselves or tell me in the chat anything that you'll take away from this session that you can there's plenty to think about. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, there is plenty to think about that. There is. For myself as well, definitely. Anybody else? Does anybody else got anything that they want to just share or take away? Okay, well, I shall let you go on with your evening. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you want to come and join me on Patreon, I'd love to have you. And I'll be, yeah, that's where I'll be directing people. And again, if you know anybody that you think would find it helpful, then feel free to share the link with them. And yeah, come and join me. Come buy me a cup of coffee every month and share my stuff. So thank you all for being here. And our next session is on the 3rd of July, the next Happy Healers Brigade. And this one is around making change, strategies for creating lasting change in your life. So that's it's quite interesting because I debated with myself whether to continue with these soon as I've shifted a little bit. But then when I looked at what I'd written down to discuss, they were also relevant in a healing journey that I just thought it's worth coming on, even if it's just to reignite my own beliefs that actually this is all worth it and everything we do makes a difference. So if anybody can just take away a little bit of something that inspires them to maybe do something a bit different, feel a little bit more hopeful, and look at their own beliefs about what they believe is possible for them, then yeah, that's definitely what I'll be working on. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.